Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today. It's going to be a gentle practice today. Probably a little bit of a gentle flow is the goal. Just to kind of get things moving, take an opportunity to take care of ourselves just a little bit. So I'm going to begin on the ground. So grab your mat, join in, find a comfortable position. Maybe take a couple of moments to breathe. So in this gentle practice today, the goal is to be a little bit compassionate to our bodies, but also to what's happening on our minds and on our hearts. Just taking a few breaths to center in on what's happening on the mat at the moment. Maybe casting some of those worries and thoughts aside for the moment. Maybe for now, nothing exists but the breath. Give yourself a moment to take notice if there's anything any part of our body that we're wanting or needing to take care of. Just take a little bit of inventory as we're breathing. Perhaps our back might be a little bit tight at this point, or you may have a foot that's a little bit tender. Whatever it happens to be, just taking note. It's not something that we need to judge or be overly upset about. Just take note and then kind of set the mindset throughout the practice to honor that body part, or do what we can to take care of it. Different postures will provide different information, and that's all it is, it's information. Just a couple more breaths, really pulling that breath deep into the navel. And exhaling as you're comfortable. And as you're comfortable, perhaps bringing the knees into the body. Continuing to breathe here, maybe rocking a bit from side to side if that's comfortable for you. Maybe releasing one leg, keeping one close. Perhaps changing sides. Just taking whatever time you would like. Maybe circling the ankle of the lifted foot. Just a single knee in. Now, I've changed a couple of times, but just take time to move as it feels appropriate to you, drawing your knees back into your chest whenever it is comfortable. Maybe rocking there a little bit. And as you're comfortable, releasing the legs so the soles of the feet find the ground, maybe lowering the knees to one side or the other. A couple more times back and forth. And with this, I like to leave the feet wider than the hips. Right? So it brings, for me, it brings more articulation into the hips and a little less into the lower back. If you'd like to make more rotation with the lower back, we can cross the legs over, or I'm sorry, bring them close to each other as we roll. We can cross them over, and then that changes things up a little bit. Like if I put the left leg on the outside of the right, and then roll toward the right side. So that's going to be a little deeper twist. So you can hang out there if you'd like. Attempting to keep the shoulders in contact with the ground. Changing sides whenever you'd like. Maybe another breath on this side. And coming back to the center as you're comfortable. So soles of the feet on the ground, knees toward the ceiling. For today, I am going to put the block between my knees and work with a little bridge. So if you have a block, go ahead and implement it. If you don't worry about it. You can feel a little bit of engagement between the thighs. Exhale as we roll back down. Up. Maybe one more time up and down with bridge. And rolling back to the ground as you're comfortable. You're taking that block out, perhaps rolling to one side, and then coming up onto our hands and knees. So a little cat-cow, just flexing and extending. Oh, good. Inhaling as we roll the shoulders and the hips back. Exhaling as we arch in the other direction. Maybe one more time in each direction. And when you're ready, coming back to neutral, maybe shifting left to right, thinking about pulling the hip and the shoulder a little closer together.
One more time to each side, perhaps. And then maybe a little spinal balance. Lifting one leg and the opposite arm here as we inhale. Exhaling as things come down. And then the other side. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Alternating sides each time, coming up and down. Maybe one more time on each. Maybe coming back to cat-cow for a moment. We're shifting left to right. Sinking our hips back to the heels, right? Finding child's position as much as it is comfortable. Maybe our arms give our head a place to rest. Maybe we find the floor. Good. Reaching forward when you're comfortable, getting a nice hold on the ground, gently drawing the shoulders forward over our hands. So a little modified plank, rolling the upper arms into the ribs, then maybe sinking back. Let's do it again, coming forward and back. One more time, back and forth from child's position to the modified plank. Right, and really when we get to the modified plank, really think about how we support the shoulders. We pull the arms into the ribs, lifting the navel just a bit. I'm going to look left and right and see if I can get my neck moving just a bit more. And when you're ready, pressing back to child's position, taking the pressure off the wrists. So a little bit of low series here, just to whatever degree it's comfortable for you. So connecting both hands with the ground, inhaling as we come forward, elbows staying close. I'm going to lower part way down, and then I'm actually going to look forward and up and pulling back. And again. Pulling the upper arms in close, lowering part way down, pulling through, looking up and back. One more time. Just part way down, pulling through and back to child's position. So just pausing in that child's position. If downward dog is a part of your practice, maybe we can transform the child's position into a downward dog by lifting our hips. If it's not a part of your practice today, don't worry about it. Just work with what's available. Those of us that are in downward dog are going to hold it for a couple of minutes, or moments here, not minutes, I'm sorry. And then we'll work toward a standing position. So however you are able or comfortable to find your way into a standing position, take some time. Maybe working the hands or the feet and the hands a little closer together. Taking a nice deep bend in the knees if you're coming from the downward dog and standing up. Maybe sweeping the arms overhead. Taking a moment, rolling the shoulders out. Maybe looking to the right or the left. Maybe lifting one ear or the other. All right. So just a little bit of chair flow, right? Sitting and lifting. Inhaling, exhaling, and explore the depth, right? It doesn't have to be super low. The chair makes it into all of my sessions. Working on building a little bit of strength with the lower body. One more time. Exhaling, lifting, and releasing. Rolling the shoulders out, maybe looking to the right or the left. All right. So a little walking warrior. I'm just going to step back, taking an inhalation and an exhalation as I step forward. So it's a comfortable warrior one, inhaling and exhaling. And just working on opening the hips a little bit. I'm going to do one more on each side, and then I'm going to add to this just a touch. There's an inhalation, an exhalation, last one, and forward. So this time, as I step back to the warrior one, I'm actually going to turn away from the back leg. So it's just a little rotation that comes through the center, but I'm just kind of working to find a little bit more length in that line, and forward. Now the other side, stepping back, gently turning, and forward. One more time on each side. Good. Coming back to the middle when you're comfortable, maybe shaking the legs out a little bit. Maybe planting the feet on the ground and turning from the hips. Relaxing the arms, maybe shaking things out just a bit. All right, so a little forward bend set here. Inhaling, coming overhead. Exhaling, deep bend into the knees like we're moving into chair, hinging, right? Almost resting our ribs on our legs. Folding the body forward. Dropping the hips a little bit and coming upright. Exhaling. Maybe holding that forward bend as it's comfortable, just softly extending the legs. Maybe cradling the arms here for a moment, softening the head and shoulders. And when you're ready, finding your way upright. Bring things back, rolling the shoulders out, shaking out the arms. Maybe looking to the right or the left. So I'm feeling some things opening up here that were a little tighter as we got started. So finding the longer edge of the mat, and I'm going to drop in, maybe resting our hands on our knees, pressing the weight side to side. So the idea is we're taking the weight out of the legs, we're decompressing a little bit, opening the hips some. All right, so wide legs, standing forward fold. So working out a little bit wider, gently pouring forward. I'm going to take the hands to the ground, softening the neck. Maybe shifting the weight a little bit side to side. So my hands are on the ground that I can walk to one side, bending the knee, just kind of shifting the weight in, keeping one leg straight, and then to the other side. Maybe back to the middle. So maybe sinking into Warrior Two if you'd like, right? Just kind of finding whatever is a comfortable warrior, but dropping those shoulders away from the ears, really reaching out through the arms, breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling, let's reach forward. We'll find a little bit of a triangle. I'm just going to rest my hand on the shin for a moment, stacking one shoulder over the other. Staying pretty long through the body, inhaling and exhaling. If it's part of your practice to maybe drop that top arm behind your shoulder, right behind your back, rolling back just a bit more, maybe broadening the chest. Some people find it comfortable to bind. I'm certainly not pushing that if that's not a gentle way to take care of your body at the moment. Don't worry about it. But the idea of dropping that top arm may help roll things open just a bit further. Coming up when you're comfortable, turning the feet so we find the opposite end of the mat, sinking into Warrior Two. So again, shoulders dropping down and away from the ears. One more breath. And inhaling as we lift everything up. Cartwheeling in here. Maybe stacking one arm over the other, resting one hand on the shin. Maybe dropping that top arm behind the back, rolling that shoulder back, binding if that's possible or comfortable. Remembering that this should be, even though we're calling this a gentle practice, really any of our yoga practices should be relatively comfortable. Right? We're not forcing our body into a position that it balks at. Right? The goal is to gain information and work with our body, not against it. Releasing, upright.
perhaps paralleling our feet. Before hinging forward, I'm going to take a moment to lift the ribs, right? Extending upright. And then coming forward, maybe walking the hands down the legs,
finding the ground here. So, and adjust your feet as comfortable, you know, if it allows you to meet the ground. You can always use a block to put your hands on. Blocks can certainly be our friend. So feet on the ground, one hand on the ground or the block, depending on what's comfortable. But then maybe turning through the torso and extending one arm maybe toward the ceiling. Maybe we just rest that in the back pocket, but we think about pulling the shoulder up. So both feet continue to be pressing into the ground. Trying to be long through my spine. This is where the block helps. Right? Now I can do this with my hand on the ground, but a lot of times what happens is that causes the rounding of the torso. So by putting the block, and it allows me to lift my chest a bit and really find that alignment. When you're comfortable, maybe going to the other side, opposite hand, turning the body, maybe reaching. So, and remember, bring the reach from the middle of the body, not the arm, right? It's not just the arm striving to move toward the ceiling, it's the body turning that allows room for the arm to remain directly in line with the shoulder. So if you can imagine the seam at the top of your shirt, you want that to point directly towards your fingers. And exhaling as we come back to the middle. Pausing here for a moment. And maybe working the feet a little closer together if you'd like, or lifting everything up.
Shaking the legs out. So I'm going to take the block with me to the forward edge of the mat. And I'm going to set it in front. So actually I want it in front of my toes. So for now, I've just got an easy standing position. But I'm going to take one foot and actually step on the block. All right, so what we're looking for at the moment is just to have the sensation of both feet connected to something for the grounding nature of it. But then I'm just simply going to turn. So we've done a couple of twists already. This one should seem fairly easy, but we're balancing just a bit more here with our feet being less even. Maybe coming back. And I'm going to change to the other side. This time placing the left foot on the block, standing solidly through the right, and then gently turning toward my left. I'd like to extend that line a bit more, maybe turning the neck as well. Shaking the legs out a bit. So I'm going to put this block away. So with this being a little bit more in the flow nature of our program, I am going to come through the sun salutation. And basically what I'm going to do is two and a half times. So do it as it's comfortable to you. If the standing sections are more to your liking, or the lower sections more to what fits for you, take the part that works. But I'm going to try and put the whole thing together for now. Just get up and get down a little bit of chest work. I like to incorporate that into my practices, just to overall a little bit of strength for the arms and the chest as well. So All right, so as you're comfortable, maybe joining with me through a couple of sun salutations. Inhaling as we reach our arms overhead. Exhaling as we pour forward, taking that bend in the knees as you'd like. Inhaling, maybe extending the body a bit here, and then planting the hands on the ground when you're ready. Stepping back, take your time to move through the lunges, and then elbows close. Maybe we put the knees on the ground, right? You can modify this however it fits, lowering partway, pulling through and looking up, lifting back, finding downward dog. And stepping forward as you're comfortable, maybe coming through the lunges, reversing the swan dive, sitting down. So there's one. Let's do another one. Inhaling, exhaling, up onto our fingertips, and down, stepping back, finding lunge, the other leg, almost close, lowering partway down, pulling through, lifting back, stepping forward, reversing the swan dive. So there's two. So by doing one half, I'm actually going to work my way back forward. I'm going to work my way back into downward dog, or you can use child's position if you'd like. So I'm stepping back. I'm going to use the plank, pulling through, lifting back. So we find downward dog. I'm going to pause here. So we're actually working our way down to the ground. But downward dog works so much through the backs of the legs and the back of the body. We want to take a few moments. Releasing the knees. And maybe sinking back to child's position if you haven't already. Resting our head somewhere comfortable. Maybe shifting our weight a little bit here in child's position, just feeling the left and the right. Coming upright when you're comfortable. If Hero is available to, wonderful. If it's not, that we can do, can come up a little bit higher. We can do a little bit of kneeling camel here. So pressing our hands into the backs of our, just above our back pockets, lifting the chest, breathing in and breathing out. So maintain the engagement. So we're really supporting through the middle of our body, and we're lifting back just a bit. Now the camel can go back as far as you'd like it, really. Usually when I do the camel, I'll curl the toes underneath and reach back so that my hands find the heels. I'm still lifting out of the lower part of the body. Coming up whenever you're comfortable. And if Hero is possible, maybe sitting back into it and then shifting the weight to one side. So for now, I'm just going to sit as a mermaid. Right, so my legs, basically we've just taken the pyramid, or I'm sorry, the Hero, and we've shifted off to the side. So one hand, may give a little bit of support, right? So I'm trying to find a little bit of length. So in some of the side bending things that we do, if we find it a little bit further up. This one, for me anyway, really comes down into that quadratus area. So this is a different version maybe than doing it from child's position. If you'd like to extend the arms overhead, maybe it can work out to the opposite side depending how things feel. But a lot of times, just shifting to one side there is plenty. So from one side, let's shift and do the
other. And if the two sides don't feel the same, that's pretty typical. So it's supporting, lifting, finding that length a little bit lower here. Or maybe extending the line across the top. And let's unwind there, bringing the legs around in front. So actually, let's go ahead and butterfly the feet. So the soles of the feet meet, lower the knees away from one another. Perhaps lowering one. Or the other. And then lifting one knee, tucking the foot underneath. So I've tucked my right foot under, lifted the left knee. I'm simply going to hold that left knee close to my left shoulder. Now, if you'd like to take it further, we can pull that left shoulder in front. Maybe the arms wind around. They don't have to, right? This is just an option. It's an extension or another version. Lifting the chest. Releasing here when you're ready. And then switching the setup, so we're on the other side. This time the left foot comes underneath, right leg lifts. Now, this is a version, right? This might not be the most comfortable for everyone. Sometimes we do this with the leg extended. Again, kind of in keeping with this idea of the side body a bit, this slight shift. We're working on aligning the low back a little bit. Lifting the chest. Maybe bringing the shoulder in front, winding the arm around. Releasing when you're comfortable. Maybe extending the legs out to the sides. So seated straddle position. Using the arms to lift the chest and thinking about moving the navel forward. So sometimes, the tendency is to kind of collapse and sit, we're balanced, but it's kind of because of imbalance. So I'm working to align and lift here a bit. Maybe we just hold it there. If you'd like to take it forward a little bit more, that's fine, but remembering to move basically from the navel first. So the hope is that we actually kind of press the belly button toward the floor. So, reaching out through the heels on both feet, thinking about keeping the toes pointed toward the ceiling.
in. So preparing to recline. So I'm going to balance for a moment just because I like to do that before I recline. Be checking in with the legs here a little bit. So nothing super taxing as far as our balance. I mean, if you'd like to play with both, go right ahead. But for now, I'm going to take one leg, roll back, maybe bring the other one in, rocking for a moment here. Maybe drawing circles with the knees, perhaps the other way. And then maybe setting up for a reclined releasing position. So today I've chosen the reclined butterfly where the soles of my feet meet and the knees fall away. You may find something that works better for you at this point. That's fine. If you'd like to put something underneath the legs to support them a little bit, take whatever time you need. But as we recline, just turning our attention back to the breathing. Releasing whatever tension the body is still holding. But at this point, perhaps relaxing our mind, relaxing our heart, if you will. Just kind of letting go of the things that may be weighing these areas down. Breathing in, breathing out. Continuing to breathe. Maybe one more breath here. When you're ready, perhaps rolling to one side. We're coming up into a comfortable seated position for the moment. Closing out our practice together today. 3 breaths. First breath honors the body for its work. Second breath honors the mind for its attention. The third breath honors the breath itself for its presence and its feedback about the practice so far. Saluting one another as we close out our time together today. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me. Until next time.